Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today I'm just doing a quick talk about my add-ons that I use mostly for my UI. For those who are not super familiar with my content, I already have videos on my channel that show kind of walk through my keybinds, and I have a video that goes over the macros that I use most often. It's not a comprehensive macro video. Like I said, it just goes over the three that I use most often. So you guys can feel free to watch those videos if you're interested in my keybinds and the macros that I use. But I'm just going to be going over the add-ons that I use for my UI today, since like I said, I've been getting a lot of questions about them. So for my action bars, I use Dominoes. This is a very lightweight add-on. Uses much less memory than ElvUI, but it doesn't have anywhere near the same kind of customization that ElvUI has. So if you're looking for something with a ton of customization, and you want to do a lot of stuff, then you might be better off with ElvUI. I find that Dominoes works for me for what I want to do. And as you can see, this is how I have it set up. It's a very, very, very easy program to figure out. It's very intuitive. Yeah, you can just kind of shape all of the different bars and move everything around exactly where you want. So yeah, that's Dominoes for my action bars. Next up, for my frames, for my character frames, raid frames, and things like that, I use shadowed unit frames. So I have a couple of different profiles set up. I have a profile for my tanking specs. This will show me different things like threat, and when mobs are enraged and things like that. Mostly I use this profile to show me who in my group has threat. And then I have my healer profile, and this is more concerned with tracking debuffs on my party members so I know who I can dispel, and tracking different dispellable or purge type effects from enemy mobs, things like if a mob is enraged, if I can purge that or remove that or something like that. So that's going to be my healer profiles. My healer profiles will also show the notorious little healing icons for any healing over time effects that I put on people. So that's my healing profile versus my tank profile. Again, this is fairly easy to set up. So if you're looking for something for party and raid healing, or being able to track stuff as a tank, you can set a bunch of different things up for party frames, like how big you want the bars to be and where you want them to go. Then for auras, this is where you show what you want your party frames to track. So if you want it to show your auras and where you want those to be located at and how big they should be, if you want it to show debuffs, etc., and where you want those to be. So let me just show you guys what it kind of looks like when I have it all completely unlocked. It looks really crazy because it's just showing all of the different possible buffs and debuffs that somebody might have, just so that I know what it would look like. So for my tank profile, this is what my party setup looks like. I have my party members stacked right on top of my frame. I have my target frame, my focus frame, and then my target of targets so that I can see my off tank. I have different bosses for Mythic Plus and raids. Arena frames, even though I don't really do arenas, and then over here is where my raid frames are, and this is my tank profile. My healing profile looks a little bit different than this, but it's mostly the same. So that's shadowed unit frames. That's going to be the most of that, and then the only other add-on worth talking about, I mean, I use a bunch of different add-ons to like show me things going on in the world, rare trackers and things like that. Right now I use Tomcat Tours, and then the various Tomcat plugins for rares in different zones. So yeah, if you guys want to get that off of CurseForge or Twitch or whatever it is that you're using for your add-ons, it's just Tomcat Tours, and then the various plugins that you want. So that's what I use to show my rares. Other than that, the only other add-on worth noting right now is my weak auras, of course. I do have things like DBM and Raider.io and stuff for when I'm doing more organized group content. But yeah, the weak auras that I use are pretty important. So I have a tracker, especially for the Brewmaster. I think it's really important. I have a tracker that shows me when I'm shuffling, when I have shuffle active. And then I also have my stagger bar that shows me where my stagger is at. If I need to purify, I have bars that will show me where my purify stacks are at, and how long my celestial brew is on cooldown for, and how much it's going to absorb for, and different things like that. So That's a lot of the weak ores that I use for my tanks is just going to show me different tank cooldowns. So when you're seeing things like this on my monk, I have a very similar setup for my Blood Death Knight that shows me when I have my 5 stacks of Bone Shield, for example. It shows me when I have enough runic power to use Death Strike, etc., etc. So I have different things like that. And same thing for the Prot Paladin. When I have Shield of the Righteous up, when I have that buff active on me, it will pop up in the same sort of way right here as a little timer so that I know how long I have before that Shield of the Righteous armor buff fades. So anyways, that's the majority of the add-ons that I use. I can just show you guys real quick. There's a bunch of different add-ons that I have for all sorts of different things, but the vast majority of it is going to be Deadly Boss mods. Weak Auras, Tomcats, Tors, like I said, Shadow Unit Frames is for the unit frames, and then Raider IO. Handy Notes is something that I occasionally will use for older content if I'm doing achievement hunting or something. Dominoes for my action bar. Details, of course, for damage meters. Tiny Threat is what I normally have active on my tank, but I don't usually have that active when I'm playing a healer spec. So that's basically it. Just a real quick walkthrough. If you guys want something more in depth showing how I actually set up my Dominoes action bars, or how I actually set up my weak auras, or how I set up my raid and party frames with shadow unit frames, leave me a comment in the section below and let me know that, because that would be a very large video to make, so I don't want to kind of invest all of that time if it's not something people are really interested in. So if you guys want more detailed information about how I go about setting all of that stuff up, let me know in the comments below and I would be happy to make that. So anyways, like I said, just a quick video kind of walking through it because I've been getting a lot of comments about it. So I hope that was helpful. And like I said, if you guys want something more in depth, let me know. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.